You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. We have a little more information on the burning wolf pee question. No, the wolf pee is not on fire. Oh, never mind. And then a bunch of things die with various forms of dramatic results. It took me a few moments extra because I was heading up the stairs and the foster dog, which is still here. Still here.
He's like that kid that won't move out.
Yeah, except he's not living in the basement. He's
That's true.
trying to climb into the bed. He's the stronger he gets, the more he's like a teenager. Now he's going to see what he can get away with. So
He's going to be smoking weed in your bathroom with the window open.
Yeah, like that would fool me. Although I have to say this, speaking of, I don't belong to a house where there's any kind of smoking going on, but I have visited friends' houses where there is ample vaping going on, and it's bothering me, and I need to ask someone who would know, can you smell pot when people are vaping it? Because I don't know if I'm getting old and can't smell anymore, if my college years of being the sole non-smoker in a room full of pot smokers have just sort of attuned me to a smell that no longer exists. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, to be honest, I can't answer that because we don't allow any smoking, vaping inside this house. Everything's outside.
Isn't there anyone around that you could ask?
Well, I could ask Eve, but she's feeding a baby and he'll start screaming, and that's worse than a dog barking.
No,
so.
You don't want that. And as you...
No, but I will ask her and answer that question at a future date.
I would be eager to hear that because there's just anything I can knock off the list of stuff that makes me feel old is a big life improvement.
I have an answer to a question.
Yes?
From a couple weeks ago for all our loyal listeners that listen to every podcast.
Yes.
I know where wolf urine comes from, besides, the wolf's wee wee.
Oh, thank goodness. We've all been waiting.
I know. Well, it comes from like zoos and veterinarians and reasons why a wolf might have to be in a cage for a while.
Well, what do they do? Put like a catheter in it?
No. They just take it off the floor.
Ew!
They have like a special floor.
Oh.
That like holds the doo-doo up, and then the urine just falls down through little tiny holes. And then it's some lucky person's job to empty that.
Oh, boy.
And then it goes into a tiny little bottle for like $80 in your local hunting fishing store.
All right. So let me get this straightened out. Instead of just putting a catheter or getting the wolf to pee in a cup or knocking it out and expressing the urine in some strange way, like when we had to use walking wheels for our elderly dog and you would pick the dog up and none of that. Instead, there's someone who's, God help him, whose job it is to take the cup of fecal laced wolf urine and pour it into little bottles?
No, because the fecal part stays.
Yeah, but it still goes over.
Just like when you put your dog into a cart, into a crate.
I hate to say this, but it's like, well,
you're making it harder than it sounds.
No. When my dog is in a crate, or this foster dog, who I would like to stress is not my dog, it doesn't pee and poop in there. It does not.
These are wolves. These are not domestic animals.
Well, they wouldn't want to pee and poop in a crate anyway. So,
how would you know?
Wait a minute.
Do you know any wolves?
But wait. So we'll know that the economy is definitely on an upswing when nobody takes the wolf pee collecting job because there's something better to do. Because probably there's just about anything that would be better to do.
But yes, they go in this. They get them from zoos and wildlife veterinarians.
If the wolf has peed and pooped in the same spot and they're filtering over the poop for the pee, it's like one of those, I'm going to gag I'm going to make myself gag. It's it's like one of those olive oils that's scented with rosemary or something. It's in there. It's fecal urine now. It's not just urine, which is kind of
Well, you
sterile, but
don't spray it on your body. It
well,
just goes outside
I don't
to
know what
scare
hunters
away
do. For
bobcats.
all I know, hunters spray it on their bodies. I don't know. Let's ask someone who
Well,
hunts.
I'm
Okay.
not hunting, but I've decided not to do that anyway because it will
Spray it
freak
on your
out the
body?
rabbit.
You've decided not to
No,
spray
spray it
it.
in the yard. It will freak out the goats and the rabbit because then they'll think that there's wolves nearby.
I still think that rabbits do not have a really elaborately established repertoire of scents they're frightened of.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do. They do. You must Google it.
I have had
It's
a
another
house.
Google for Turi,
I had a
unless you
house.
want to ask Jeeves.
I had a house rabbit most of my life. And I will warrant you that that rabbit, unless it's actually confronted by something bigger and hairier and taller than it is, has no idea.
This is an outside rabbit. This is not a house rabbit. This rabbit lives in an even Frankie built house in her fenced in backyard. So
It's a
those rabbits
domestic
can
rabbit.
smell.
It's not a wild rabbit.
No, definitely not.
Right.
He's like
Same.
he's about 6 times bigger than
Yeah,
your little
same
rabbit.
point. Same point.
huge.
I think that after a while,
They
your
smell.
well, okay, there's no way we can prove this, really.
Anyway, I have another story.
Yes? Wait.
This is-
Well, let me keep count here. So
Oh,
far,
you still want to do
question
wolf
about
urine?
vaping, information about wolf pee. We should reclassify this as an educational podcast. What else?
Well, now I'm going to talk about death.
Oh, very important. Yes.
Okay, so we had a tragedy in our house this week,
Ah,
and
yes.
I'm still very sad. But
You have to tell
it
people
leads
what it
to
was.
a story. I will let everybody know
Okay.
at the end of the story.
Oh dear.
I have this odd way of naming animals, and they're either named because it's something that I really, really like Minion. I named him because I like the Minion movies. Plus, I wanted him as a big giant dog to know that he's a minion, so he would know his place. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so many years ago, when you were at WLS in Chicago and I was at UPI upstairs 20 floors, I was working a night shift and I had a goldfish that I had for years and years and years. And his name was Karl Yastrzemski, who is my favorite baseball player of all time. Do you know where this is going?
I
And
don't
I'm
want to
sitting
guess.
at the-
I don't want to
I'm s-
speculate on this.
I'm sitting at the editing desk, and there are many, many people in this big office, including a whole sports department where these guys would just randomly start beating each other up for no reason, and we just watch it happen. So anyway, I get a phone call, and someone said my face must have changed because somebody said to me, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Karl Yastrzemski died." And the newsroom went freaking crazy because he was like this big famous baseball
I
player
know, I know.
at the time. And like those sports guys are like, "What? Karl Yastrzemski died?" And I had to like literally stand on a chair and scream, "It's my goldfish named Karl Yastrzemski." Now that leads to this week. Okay.
Oh God, I know where
When
this
Frankie-
is. Now I know where this is going. It's gonna be worse.
10 years ago.
Oh, and
Frankie
although I would
went
like
to
to point
Wisconsin.
out, although I would like to point out
Yes.
that you no longer have to explain to an entire newsroom full of testosterone-filled sports writers the next story.
No,
No.
no, this is more for people like me.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So Frankie went to Wisconsin for a couple months to help his parents out. The last words out of his mouth was, "There better not be any new animals here when I get back." Have
What-
you met me?
You know what that means,
If you
of
dare
course.
me to do something,
Yeah.
you know I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
That was
no.
an open invitation
Yeah.
to fill whatever area I want with
With a new
various kinds
animal,
of living,
right.
breathing things.
He knows this. This
Yeah.
was his love language for while I'm gone, Marcy. I know you're going to really miss me. So just go ahead and pick out an animal that you can love that will keep you company
Exactly.
till I get back.
But
That's what
but
he
it
was
comes
saying.
out of his mouth. You
As
better not.
right, but that's not. But I just explained what he meant. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we went to the Pride Festival. We came home with a puppy and a really cute little puppy. For some reason, everybody at Pride wanted all the pit bulls from the kennel that was, it was a rescue from the Coconino Humane Society. Everyone took the pit bulls. And this poor little, I don't know, didn't know at the time what she was all by herself. So I said, can we take her to listen to the concert? And they said, fine. So she listened to the concert with all my kids and all their friends. And then after the concert, I said, can I take her home to see if my other dogs like her? And they said, fine. Okay. So the whole ride home with this puppy, which was 3 months old and very little, I was trying to figure out how can I hide it when Frankie gets home? Or how can I make Frankie instantly like it? And it turned out she was a really good puppy. She didn't chew or anything. 2 months goes by. Now the puppy's 5 months old. I fly to Wisconsin to go meet Frankie and had a brainstorm on the plane because the puppy still didn't have a name. And I thought, okay, what does Frankie really, really, really like besides the Grateful Dead? And I went, ooh, Scarlett Johansson. So the puppy's name became Scarlett Johansson.
Had he met the puppy? Did you bring the puppy on the plane?
No, the puppy was at home.
So you got to say to your husband, Scarlett Johansson is at our house?
Yes.
Ooh.
As soon as I got off the plane, which was hours late because of multiple weather delays. I did I say I was going to visit him?
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
I was flying from Flagstaff to Wisconsin. So I figured I may as well just rip off the Band-Aid. As soon as I got in the car and I said, by the way, Scarlett Johansson's at our house waiting for you.
Oh, he should know better.
And we had a 2-hour drive and I got yelled at the whole way. Then he got over it. Then he came home. Then he said, I hate this puppy. Then, of course, he fell in love with her. We had her 10 years. And this week she was very sick and she died. Well, I wanted to let my friends on Facebook know.
Oh, no, here it comes.
That this puppy, our 10-year-old dog, had died. And everybody knows her by her full name. Because no one ever yells Scarlett. They yell Scarlett Johansson. And that's what she answered to.
Almost sounds like an exclamation of sweet baby Jesus, like Scarlett Johansson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I couldn't put on Facebook that Scarlett Johansson died.
You cannot.
Even with pictures of her. Because
that's
some moron.
Misinformation, and they'll block your whole account.
Exactly.
Oh,
fake news.
Yeah.
And some idiot would splash it all over the place. And then some newspaper somewhere would pick it up.
Russia.
And so that's my whole story. Is all I did was post a picture of her and say always in my heart and not use her name. And all my friends that sent condolences, nobody used her name either, thank God, because they realized the fact that there was a reason.
Well, they've all heard about Carl Yastrzemski. We all remember that.
Yeah, well, Carl Yastrzemski was still alive in 1983. And Scarlett Johansson is still alive and married to Colin Jost in 1918 or 2024 or whatever this is.
This is 2024. And I love happy endings. I love a happy ending. Even though it's a sad ending.
Kind of a happy ending.
Yeah, it's happy.
Now I'm stuck with the two dogs that hate each other,
Yeah.
and she was the peacemaker.
Well, it's sad for you, but it's nice for the real Scarlett Johansson. And
yes, it is.
I think we'll
and
leave
her
it there.
husband.
And her husband.
And children.
And I think we'll leave it there. Because really, how often do you get a sad ending that's a happy ending like that? Thanks for listening to the Turi Writers She Said What podcast. Since you've made it to the end, you might want to know that my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air, is not only available in print, but now also in complete audiobook form, narrated by me and available on Audible.